og okkur góður kunnur, hann prófessor í Listaháskólanum í Brussel, konunglega Listaháskólanum í Brussel. Og nú ætlum við ekki að tala íslensku welcome. We are going to have an introduction today. I'll just introduce Gautier Courbet. He is the professor of the Royal Art Academy in Brussels. And Halldór Björn Runarson is going to interview him or talk to him a little bit. He's our director here at the National Gallery of Iceland. So I hope we have interesting discussions ahead of us.
Yeah, great. Yeah, introducing Gautier, let's not forget that the National Gallery possesses a major painting of his with also two very fine big watercolors. And the painting that in the collection is actually very ominous because it deals with the death of singer and dancer Michael Jackson, and was a premonition. Gautier finished the painting 2 days before Jackson's death, and he is there on in the morgue, and has gone through autopsy. So he is. It is a strange thing, and if I may add to it, Gautier, since you had such a visionary idea. Is it true that you went out and bought a lotto ticket? Ticket with a lotto ticket, hoping that you had also that you would also foresee.
After I finished that painting, and like 24 or 36 hours after I decided to leave the painting like it was, then we found out that we got this on the news. We saw that he was dead, and my first reaction was, oh shit! The work will not get the same meaning as I wanted to give, because the painting was to make more a joke about Michael Jackson, like thinking when he is dead and goes through the autopsy, then we find out that he has no sex and that he is actually just white, where people could see, just
the visible part of it.
The visible part of the body. So the painting shows a black and white body, just the head and the arms are white, and the rest of the body is a black man. So it's stitches, dark. And a little bit later, I thought, well, maybe it was luck, or maybe I have some power. And I made a self-portrait. It's the title is myself, Gautier Hubert, winning lotto. So since that, I'm buying lotto tickets, but nothing happened.
But you haven't had luck with that.
No, not the same. So. This explains a little bit my way of thinking when I paint. There is no, I have no direction really. I paint what I want to paint at the moment that I grab something. But I'm not starting straight. Maybe the idea of painting the autopsy of Michael Jackson was like a 2 or 3 years old idea. And I write down the title long before. I have a long list of titles of paintings that I haven't painted yet. And I don't know if I keep them all, but little by little I go through them. And some stands out, and I start thinking and prepare the painting like 1 or 2 years before, thinking of the size of the painting, the background, all the atmosphere, how we put in, the composition, and how I will set the image. But it's a way for me to fix an idea. To write down the title is more like a text describing the idea.
So, in a sense, the French-American artist Marcel Duchamp, he also said that the title is definitely the most important thing in an artwork. You agree with him?
Yeah, I think it happens sometimes that I prefer the title than the painting, even though I finished the work, and recently I finished last week a painting that I look at it, I like the work, I like the link with the title, but the title became, for that example, more important. I prefer the title for that work, and it happens with some works that I'm more, I have a better feeling than with the title. Sometimes, not always.
You started off, you got the prize of the young painters in Brussels. That's when you became known in your home country. And that was in around just before the year 2000.
Yeah, it was. I think the awards was around June '99, and the show started in December '99. It was in Beaux-Arts, so it's a major award for contemporary art in Belgium, and it's called the Young Belgian Painters Award. Coming from the name of a group of painters that was created in the 50s reacting against Cobra. And they kept that name for that prize. It's like the award Marcel Duchamp in France. And so we were 4 selected to that award, and I was nominated for that.
And was it already by that time that you had that you were working so conceptually or working from titles?
Yes and no, maybe not so clear as I do today, but the fictional aspect was already there in a way that I did a work. What I presented for the work that award was called Antarctique Belgique, presented like a football match, between the Antarctic and Belgium. And the starting point was about what would become Belgium if the Antarctic melted. And the scientists have proved that it would rise, the ocean would rise 62 meters. And 62 meters on a map of Belgium was more or less the language border between Flemish and French.
So and can you tell me?
So
the lowland was that French speaking? And
no, the lowland, the land disappearing was the Flemish.
Okay.
So I'm a French speaker, and of course I was building a whole story about the death of the Flanders and the migration of the Flemish. And it was becoming like the influence of, I was putting back everything to culture and art, and it was all the Flemish artists moving to the Wallonie would influence the Wallon paintings. And the work was about fictional paintings done by Wallon artists influenced by the Flemish painters. Like everything was mixed with reality. And the Flemish painters today. The new school of Antwerp, led by Luc Tuymans, and those people influencing the art of the world. It's a long story, but it's difficult to explain all that.
In any event, Belgian art is very much apart. People all over Europe and elsewhere tell me that it is very particular, and it doesn't look like Dutch art at all. It is very, very much on its own, and that it doesn't sound French neither, nor German. Can you describe a little bit this sort of Belgianness of, because you mentioned Luc Tuymans, who of course is an internationally known artist, painter, and can you describe a little bit this Belgianness? Has it got anything to do with Tintin or this incredible growth and wealth in comic strips and cartooning?
Yeah, I don't know if I can explain exactly a way of working in Belgium, but there is this tendency of having a kind of sense of humor through the artwork, like you see maybe Magritte or Protat. Those people present something in a final way quite serious, with a technical approach, with everything is linked together. There is like you can walk through the work, through the time also, and read the work a bit as you want. You can see it seriously, but you can also see it like a big joke. Mm-hmm. And it's apart from surrealism that left a lot of traces through the years after the 40s in the contemporary art in Belgium. There is this way of making fun of the artists make fun of themselves also. It was there before, I think, also. You can see it through some works even of Rubens or people like Jordaens, we spoke before about. And I think it has to do with a way of not having really a country, but more being in a territory. Belgium is a country that has been balanced between several.
It has pertained to Spain under the Spanish kings.
Then French, then Dutch.
Dutch, Austrians.
But it's more a region, also from the time of the Roman. Belgica was a name for it's the region of the Castor, comment on dit Castor en anglais? Castor. Comment on dit ça? It's an animal. The beaver.
The beaver. The beaver. Yeah, right.
So the Roman called it the region of the beaver, Belgica. And it's from the Latin. And so it was already a name of a region, not a country. So it stayed like an area that was like modeling, moving through and I think the people living in that area, Flemish or French speaking, they always kept this attitude of not being really in the whole land.
And yet you have this marvelous traditional school of painting during the late Middle Ages, or which is called the Flemish Renaissance. And I mean, you are possibly the the first to use oil painting. Like Robert Campin, Master of Flamel, and Jan van Eyck.
Yes, it's an old tradition in the painting. Some art historians say that mastering oil painting started really in the Flanders with the primitive Flamand, as the Italians were more working with tempera. But at that time, yes, so Van Eyck, Campin, like you said,
and right up to one that you forgot to mention, of course, James Ensor, the great forerunner of perhaps René Magritte.
Yes, before, yeah, of course. Also, so that's part of the painters that I'm saying that was at this sense of humor already before surrealism exists.
Many of you must know James Ensor and his carnivals of skeletons that are very happy.
Yes. It's also very politic. It's also very politic.
It's quite macabre.
James also I find fascinating because the way he paints, and if you look at the time he paints and the title he gives, is actually making those paintings at the same time as Van Gogh, but they never met. And also at the same time as Pierre Van here in Iceland, painting the same way, but they never met. And I find that very interesting to see that through different regions, to different areas in Europe or in the world, some painters have the same questions about how to paint without knowing each other.
And he's often referred to as one of the masters, the forerunners of expressionism, or expressionistic painting, being so sarcastic and critical.
Yeah, it's they are announcing the expressionism. They are announcing also a way of feeling bad in the society, which the expressionism is going to emphasize strongly in Germany, maybe. But those painters that, like Van Gogh also, or like I explained, I mentioned Pierre Van, it's the way they put the paint on the canvas. There is a specific way of putting, the first one putting expression to what they do, what they're representing something. And that also, for me, is a way to go further than just the act of painting, but seeing what is behind the painting, what is, like we speak all the time, there is the importance of the titles, but it's a way of doing the same approach.
It's funny that you should mention Kjarval in this context, because of course he was very, he was, and as a matter of fact also Munch, the Norwegian, great Norwegian painter, they were influenced by this sort of this style, this linear style, which of course Belgium is so famous for, and especially Brussels, the Art Nouveau, or which the Germans call Jugendstil, or whatever. This sort of this graphical way of doing things. Has this influenced you as well?
What those, you mean the Art Nouveau and those?
Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
No.
I'm more fascinated by, I don't know actually, I'm fascinated by many things. I can be fascinated by Caspar Friedrich for something specific, and then Van Eyck for another thing, and Munch for something else also, and it's just traveling through. I don't know, it's difficult to say say what influenced me, because it depends at the moment that I'm doing something, or I can't answer that.
But anyway, one can see in your words relationship and big relations with the history of painting, and this perhaps makes you different from, let's say, Icelandic painters who approach the art of painting a little bit more like newcomers to it. You seem to be very, I don't say obsessed, but you always, or in the majority of cases that I have seen the paintings by you, there are references to something that went on before.
Yes. I don't know how I'm going to explain that, but I like to paint regarding things that I don't like. So, for example, I look a lot at French Rococo, and it's one of the periods in art history that I dislike the most.
This is good to hear.
And that's because I think painting has a power. You can paint. Yeah, painting can make something absolutely ugly being beautiful. Because you first look at an image and you don't see straight the painting. You look at an image. You can look at the image of somebody ugly, but then the way it's painted can be fascinating and beautiful. So when you go to the step of looking at the painting, you can't go back to the ugly image. You will always be fascinated by the image.
Mm.
So I'm very interested by looking at paintings, more images that I don't like in the art history, that I find ugly or not attractive. But looking at them, trying to find why I would like the painting.
Okay, this is so it's a kind of a twist. You are drawn. You're fascinated by something that creates a bit of repulsion in.
Yes, something that it can be sometimes repulsion. It can be sometimes about. A bad subject. At the same time, I also love the titles. You can without seeing pictures, paintings, you can figure out by just reading titles the period they are from. Because there is a specific way of writing a title through the time. Like there is a specific way painting a naked body through the time. Through the criterion, in the Renaissance or in the Baroque or in the 40s, the 1940s, the naked body would be, a nude would be painted completely different because the criterion are different. The way of writing the titles is a bit the same, and the titles I hate the most is the period of la peinture de genre.
The genre painting, yeah.
I don't know what you say in English.
It's the genre or genre, or it's the same word. Yeah.
And also the paintings are absolutely boring to watch.
I think I don't have to explain to you what a painting of genre is. It is the type. We call it in Icelandic tegundamálerk. It's artists who specialize in painting seascapes all the time, or interiors all the time, or flowers all the time, and so forth.
And they use the participe présent a lot. That's typical from the type of titles.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's fixing a moment with an action.
Yeah. So you go. So it is linguistically also very important for you. This brings us to of course your forerunner René Magritte, who actually is possibly the artist who introduced language into painting in such a way that we cannot escape it anymore. Ceci n'est pas une pipe. This is not a pipe.
Yes, Magritte finds that the word leads to the image. By the way, we spoke about Teumans. Teumans says that the image leads to the word. Because he says that there is no image possible. No, Magritte says there is no image possible without words. And there is no word for Teumans without an image. And so this is a bit the story of the egg and the chicken. I find it interesting that when you speak about Magritte and the Bible, yes, of course, it's just so simple, but he speaks of the situation of the painting, how you locate the painting, when the image is becoming the painting, or not.
So it's the old Latin ut pictura poesis, which of course visual art has often been paralleled to poetry, where you see at a glance of or in a very short time, you can read, you can see what the poem says, and you look at the painting and you can see what the picture says, rather than, for instance, between a picture, a painting, and a novel, which is much more time-based thing.
I think to make a painting is to tell a story also. I mean, it's to tell a story through several paintings, or it's to tell a story through only one painting, or it can be also a story through a lifetime of painting.
And this is visible in some of the paintings that you present here, or are presented here, like the Anna Meyer cycle. Can you tell us a little bit about?
It's the first time that I show them together. They've been painted in different moments between 2009 and 2012, maybe. I don't remember exactly, but it was not planned that there would be a series. I started by this one.
What was it that made you? What was it? Now, of course, this is. We have to say it that this is a person that comes out of Holbein's or Hans Holbein's.
It's a drawing. It's a drawing that was printed afterwards in a very high number of prints. But
she was the daughter of the mayor of Basel.
She's the daughter of the mayor of Basel in the 16th century, first half of 16th century. Yeah. And Jacob Meyer, the mayor of Basel.
And one of the richest guys in Europe at
the
time.
Yeah, very powerful. And he asked for a family portrait, adoring Virgin Mary. So Holbein is preparing the painting, and he makes sketches of the whole family. And he makes some sketches of Anna Meyer. And one of the drawing is Anna Meyer seen from profile, like that.
Exactly the same. And she seems to be very, she doesn't seem to be very happy. She's
she's just, when in the drawing, what I like is that she's very absent-minded and fixing something. So what I liked about it is just wondering what was she looking at while she was posing for Urbain. And so all my imagination goes through where she in the studio of Urbain, maybe she's at her place, I don't know. And then I start thinking about what she's looking at. And so I decided to do it again. So I made a copy of the drawing. But I started the copy by drawing a mistake in the paper, a spot, well drawn, it's not a spot I did like that, it's just a spot I started to draw. And from that I built eyes and copied the work until here. In the beginning, I would say in the beginning the drawing is complete. Okay, but then while I was working on this, I look more about this print, and I see two drawings from Van Gogh that are also from her. They are different, but it is obvious it's from the Urbain.
So Van Gogh was also interested in.
I don't know what happened. Van Gogh probably found a print because Van Gogh was buying a lot of prints from the Japanese stamps and all that, and he probably found this print, liked it, and drew it. But in his way of trying to be a performer, Van Gogh was really obsessed by making the drawing, even if he was working from an image, making the drawing like the person is just alive sitting in front of him. And he has a way to emphasize the drawing in a very specific way. And in the drawing, we have the feeling this woman is just under control. She is like a mad person, tied in English, the word for those.
Sort of, defensive or trapped.
When people are under control in the mental hospital, they
they're strapped. Yeah. So she's
a really intense drawing. And what I liked about that, it was exactly this moment of Van Gogh changing the drawing from Urbain into something else. And that he drew that in 1884. So I cut the drawing like this, and I painted a star sky, watercolor star sky, and the lower part.
The famous star sky by...
referring to the star sky from Van Gogh.
The most famous painting.
And the title is there written, and it's just a story of what I found, the Anna Meyer, then I found the drawings of Van Gogh, then I do it again in this way. And then soon after I was wondering still about, she's looking at something. I still don't know what she could be looking at. And then I wanted to paint her like she would be still posing because of this way in the Urbain. She's so sitting and absent-minded.
And looks bored, You've got two daughters. Have they had to sit as models? No. They would have been bored to death if they.
I don't use models.
Okay. Yeah.
I prefer to work with the fiction and inventing the people, like the Picasso models or those people.
Okay, we come to that later.
Then I painted her like she would be still posing today when I painted the painting 2010 or 11. And then I painted her, and it's called Anna Meyer, 502 years old.
And this is absolutely, this is very much in line with James Ensor and his skeletal, these sort of living skeletons.
Yes, so I emphasize this old woman that is almost like a mummy, and she's still The eyes haven't changed. It's the only thing that hasn't changed. She's still having the eyes looking in the same direction.
And looking at the same spot, which is the star of one of the stars of the Starry Night.
Yeah.
But you said that you never used models, yet you caught sight of one of...
I used two models.
Yourself,
myself,
with a lotto ticket that didn't work, and then someone who you claimed.
It's a man that I know, and I crossed over with that.
And this is the blue painting that you can see over there.
And he's, I always thought this guy looked like Van Gogh. So, well, as I know from Van Gogh, but it's, of course he doesn't probably look like Van Gogh, but he's tall, he's skinny, and
he's a spitting image.
Red hair, red beard.
Yeah.
He really looks
the type
on the edge of being homeless, you know, but he's not, but he looks very strange. And I used him for painting a man looking like Van Gogh.
And,
and
this is this is just a guy who frequents the same cafe that
he doesn't know I painted him.
Okay.
Yeah. So he doesn't know. In a way, I hope he doesn't see it. I don't think he will.
Well, it has been shown. As a matter of fact, it hung in the National Portrait Gallery in London for at least 1 year.
Yeah, no, it was a show starting in the National Portrait Gallery in London, then went to a museum in Newcastle, then to the National Portrait Gallery of Edinburgh, and then in the Wales, and so the whole show was about a year. Went through 4 museums.
So all the
he didn't go there,
so all the Limeys know it, and he doesn't know that he
I'm sure he doesn't know. Yeah.
But what about your series of? That is also very intriguing. The way you, because you the aliases or the spitting images that somehow is connected with a series of supposed models, the substituted models that you paint, supposedly having posed for Picasso between 57 and 1963.
Yeah, 62, 63.
They're not based on any.
So it's just a joke. Also, it's so I don't know. The first one was the blue one, is behind.
Yeah.
It's going to be more, but I'm not doing that. It comes when I decide to do one. That's also a title that was written since a long time, but I didn't know what I would do with it, and I didn't know how it would be, and so the title is to show a model that was posed for Picasso between 57 and 62, 63, depending on some, but temporary, because in the art history we also know that the models of Picasso are all famous women, almost as famous as him. And then I thought, well, maybe
mostly his concubines or his
yes,
wives.
They got famous anyways.
Yeah, okay.
And these are models that posed while they were sometimes absent or ill, And so they are unknown women that today are between 75, 80, 85, depending how old they were in 57 or 1960. And so I just painted an old woman every now and then that has something wrong in the face or the body, but based on from that period between 57 and 62, when Picasso started to really go into the work that he had started already before, but with placing the eyes on the wrong side and nose twisted. It's more a way of speaking about painting. I like to use the act of painting also to speak about painting. Painting of others or also my own painting, but it's for me, the way of painting is one of the first goal is to speak about painting. And so there will be more coming. So the next 8 years maybe. Yeah. Then I will stop because then they
would presume that they would be too old to be true. They would have died. Or,
yes. Yeah. I want to stick to kind of reality also. So of course, maybe in 2025, then there will be no one still alive.
Yeah, they wouldn't be credible.
No.
Okay.
And I don't know how many will be. Maybe I will make still 2, maybe 5. I don't know. I'm not planning anything about that.
What is it now, coming back to, what do you think yourself, what is it that triggers your painting? You said that it is the title, definitely, but how do you, does it come to you just like a surprise or
yes, it's
is it totally contingent?
Two-way. It can be about as stupid as being in a dinner party and people speaking and the word, the word that is said, it says in a strange way.
Something that's in the air or something that someone utters or...
maybe related to something I'm working on for the moment. And I'm building up something else around that, write it down quickly and then you rework the sentence and think how I'm going to build it up. It comes also while I paint. While I paint, I'm thinking about many things except what I paint. Because I prepared long before what I'm painting. And it's very mechanic, it's a technical approach while I'm working on it. And the whole preparation has been done long before.
And this might be perhaps the reason why your painting sounds so different from, for instance, Icelandic painting, that you are very preoccupied with technique and how to
I think but I'm very, very preoccupied by the technique. And I think it's a way, also painting is like performing for myself. There are some paintings that have been done only for the act of performing. Like there is one of them here, but I can explain about another one. So sometimes I'm going into some details that I stop breathing to really be really precise, and sometimes it can be long, and then I have to catch my breath again. So I painted a man, I made a portrait of a man. So you see, for example, this idea, this title came while I was painting something completely different. I don't know what it was, I don't remember. And I was into the details of something. And I painted a portrait of a man trying to stop breathing for 3 minutes. And it's this state, so the painting is this state at 2 minutes 56 seconds. So I'm painting him. I use a technique that is so detailed that I have to, almost the entire portrait has been painted with stopping breathing. And at the end, it's a man that is like...
And he has become like a balloon, like...
He's almost collapsing. And you don't know if he's going to make it.
When we try to contain our breath in order to get rid of a hiccup or
he's almost collapsing. It's just maybe he won't make it because in that moment 4 seconds left can be very long. And you try to make it. and another way of speaking about technique and making it as a performing situation is the watercolor over there, the star sky. And in the letter from the 16th of June 1888, Van Gogh writes a letter to his brother, Theo. At that time, is the period that he's in Arles, in south of France, and he goes for a week to the coast in Sainte-Marie-de-la-Mer. And he writes to his brother that for the first time, he looked at the star sky that was like completely bright, and he's just wondering how technically he could paint that. This question is a question to himself. How can I do a star sky as bright as we know it's dark?
Where there is no
with paint. How can I do that? And so we know, of course, the series of star skies that Van Gogh painted after that. And so the title of this work is written all around the watercolor. So I played the game of wondering how can I do it with watercolor, knowing that you don't use white. You use the white of the paper. So you have to go all around and you have to.
So you did go around all the little stars?
No, I did something else, but I'm not telling you what I did.
So you swindled a bit. That's also a technique.
I tried to find a technique to do it, but without any white. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the game is that. For me, it's like performing. I make an image of something that everybody can recognize, but what is more interesting for me is the process. Is the game around. Is linked to the title, linked to the story of the Van Gogh. And so the title is all around, so you can hang actually the work as you want, because it's a star sky, there is no direction.
And there is no,
it's...
all the directions are valid.
Yeah. And the title is the moment, I presume, he was looking at the sky, so the night before he wrote the letter.
This is really outstanding, and what can we say else? But this has been the. Would you like to pose questions for Gauthier? Because I think I've run a little bit out of mine. You've had. This has been fantastic because you've, in a short interview, so to speak, you've been able to give us a glance into the details of your approach to painting. That's really
there are some questions.